And welcome in. Did he talk to you about Max Brosmer? Whoever the hell the Vikings will be putting in now that Carson Wentz is hurt. But I'm Jay Binkley, Jacob Mustard producing the operation. And like we do all the time, bring in Mac, bring in Logan this time to actually talk about something besides fantasy, although you clearly can.
I do my best.
Did you give updates for Max Brosmer? Were you like, well, it's too late. It was too late by the time you came on.
I was not sitting on the waiver wire anxiously awaiting my pickup of Max Brosmer. No. I had no idea who this individual was, and he played at Minnesota.
It was like, here you go, London. Here are the Browns, and here's the Carson Wentz-led Vikings. Enjoy.
Yeah. And
we'll
now
probably have a third string player.
Now it's even worse. Just watching a full-blown rock fight at Wembley.
Full-blown, but got a couple more weeks here. And the Vikings have been there for a while because they were in Dublin with against the Steelers. They just hop on a jet, go over there. So
yeah,
and you knew he wasn't going to start. J.J. McCarthy was done. Once they went overseas like that, it was going to be Carson Wentz for the next couple of weeks. He should be ready to come back soon. Your Hawkeyes, by the way, off yesterday.
Yes, they were. Thank God.
Who do you got next? Wisconsin?
Yeah, Wisconsin in Madison. Wisconsin team who looked fairly solid defensively, which you knew that going into the game. They have the number one rushing defense in college football, but their offense is woof. And I think that bodes well for Iowa. Unfortunately, Hawkeyes have no idea who the starting quarterback is going to be. Mark Gronowski went down in the fourth quarter against Indiana. His injury is considered very, very much week to week. The backup is Hank Brown, who's a transfer from Auburn, but he only completed like 23% of his throws in that fourth quarter against the Hoosiers, a game that Iowa should have won. I mean, they had it. Interception late. They had it in field goal range. Kicker missed it. Indiana drove down and scored a touchdown, and it was pretty much wraps after that.
Well, no, you're a huge fan of that. I love seeing these quarterbacks from FCS and Division II getting their shot. Mm-hmm. Like getting there, and people are realizing, hey, the really good ones can play at the top level. Gronowski, obviously South Dakota State, national champion there. You have Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss.
Yep.
He's a Division II guy, Ferris State. Finished third in the Harlan Hill, which is their version of the Heisman. The Central Missouri quarterback won it again there. But Trinidad Chambliss didn't have anybody want him. He was like 60th in the portal, 800th player. Lane Kiffin watched the film of him and said, I like that guy. Pittsburgh State beat that guy last year in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things.
But he got his chance.
People that haven't followed Division II or FCS football, I don't think they really understand. Like, they look at it, oh, it's a lower division of football, so the talent gap must be, extremely. It's not.
Maybe early on, but eventually you see what happens.
The talent gap is not as big as you think it is. Honestly, I've always looked at it, especially from the standpoint of like college basketball, being a Northwest guy, and watching some of the guys that have been really, really successful at Northwest who have gone on to be successful elsewhere, like a guy like Ryan Hawkins, kid from Iowa who came to Northwest and wound up being an all-Big East player at Creighton after he transferred from the Bearcats, to how about a guy like Bennett Sturts, who goes from a couple of years at Northwest. He follows Ben McCollum to Drake, where he leads them to the NCAA tournament, beating Mizzou in the first round. They get to the round of 32. He's an All-American.
Yeah, Division I didn't hurt him.
Yeah, and now he's a preseason player, National Player of the Year candidate at Iowa this year, following Ben McCollum again. The talent gap is not as big as you think it is. I think the talent gap is the difference between a 5'11 point guard and a 6'2 point guard, or a 6'10 center or a 7-foot center. I mean, it's usually very much so, in my opinion. It's a height, it's a weight, it's an intangible, it's a potential thing with some of these guys that kind of gets overlooked. I mean, Trevor Hudgens at Northwest was, 5'6", 5'7", grew up in Manhattan, went to Manhattan High. He went to high school in Manhattan. K-State never gave him a second thought, and he goes to Northwest, and he's a 2-time National Player of the Year, and ended up playing for the Houston Rockets for a little bit, and is now one of the best players in the European Basketball League. Sometimes guys just get overlooked on a sheer height, weight, intangible standpoint, that the talent gap is not what it once was and not what you think it is.
It's like Diego Pavia, who played JUCO, won a national title there. The coaches watch on Jerry Kill and stuff watch that film. They were actually recruiting the other quarterback in the JUCO game, and Diego beat him and said, "I come to New Mexico State." Jerry Kill turns that around. Obviously, Clark Lee says, hey, we want you at Vanderbilt. I know they lost yesterday to Bama. They still gave him all they wanted to.
Yeah, valiant effort.
At that point. But anyway, he comes over there and a couple Pitt State guys there with the Vanderbilt staff. But I figured you'd appreciate Division II. All right, the Chiefs, man. What were you thinking going into it, Logan? The 6 games without Rashee Rice. Where was their record going to be? Clearly, I didn't think they'd start 0-2. I thought, well, the Eagles game, that was going to be tough. I knew that. But I thought they'd beat the Chargers because they have 17-3 in the last decade. They didn't do it. Herbert picks up 3rd and 14. The rest is history. All right, you're back to 2-2. You got 2 more games. 2 more games without Rashee Rice. You get the upstart Jacksonville Jags, which I'll be honest with you, I was asking people, just quizzing them, like, what's Jacksonville's record, honestly, if they had the Chiefs schedule? And we came to a consensus 1-3. It does matter who you're playing.
100%.
100% matters. So, all right, you got Jacksonville, then you got Sunday night against the Lions. Unfortunately, you don't have Rice for that one. That's going to be a good game.
Yes, 100% it is. To answer your initial question there, I thought that this Chiefs team would be 4-2, but I wouldn't be super disappointed with a 3-3 start. Over the first 6 weeks without Rashee Rice, when you've got teams like the Chargers who made the playoffs a year ago, the Eagles who you lost to in the Super Bowl a year ago, the Ravens, a team that's been on the upper echelon of the AFC for years and years, the Detroit Lions, who have been one of the best teams in the NFC over the last couple of years. That's a really difficult. Your 2 easiest games were, of course, the New York Giants and the Jaguars. And the Jaguars have been one of the surprise teams in the league so far this year. Now, they have benefited immensely from a bad schedule. The Houston Texans have been a complete and utter disappointment. Their offense can do absolutely nothing. Their defense has not taken the leap that we thought it would. The San Francisco 49ers are basically rolling guys out of the ER and putting them in jerseys at this point, and it's only week 5. The Bengals, pretty similar situation. Their defense was already a dumpster fire.
Yeah, Burrow got hurt that game.
You lose Joe Burrow.
Browning comes in there and throws them the ball. They beat him, but
yeah, the Bengals still won that game.
Yeah.
Jake Browning came in the second quarter and threw 3 picks, and you still lost. And then the Carolina Panthers, who outside of possibly the Tennessee Titans are the worst team in football. So the Jaguars haven't played anybody. I understand there's all this hoopla about the number of turnovers that they've generated, right? They've forced 13 of them in 4 games. Yeah, +9 turnover differential, best in the league. Okay, something's going to have to give, right? Because the Jaguars, yeah, they've forced 13 turnovers. The Chiefs have only given up 1. And I think we can all agree that should have never happened. Travis Kelce should have caught that ball along the goal line, scored a touchdown, and the Chiefs could have stood a better chance to win that game against the Philadelphia Eagles.
You can make a real argument it could be 4-0. Again, it's what it could have, should have.
Well, yeah,
it's using the Ravens argument that came in with all those injuries.
100%.
Even though Vegas had them as the favorites, but
100%. It's the same. That's the same mindset that the Buffalo Bills have been using for, I don't know, the last 35 years since they lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. I look at this game and I'm not buying the Jaguars, and I'm definitely not buying the Chiefs as only 3.5-point favorites in this game. I'm hammering. I've already put money on it. I'm hammering the Chiefs to cover the spread at -3.5 because I believe this is a game the Chiefs could win by 2 scores.
Well, I think they cover the game.
100%.
It's a safe cover. By the way, in December, think about it. Look at this, Logan. In December, you get Houston Chargers at Arrowhead, at Tennessee, which you and I could go beat the Titans, Denver at home, and at Arrowhead West in Vegas. That's how you finish the season. So whatever, trials and tribulation the Chiefs are getting now, they really turn it up in November and December. But that is a great way to finish the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every week is going to be, and that's the way it is, right? Yeah. That's what the Chiefs have become over the last 7-8 years at this point. They have become the team to watch in the National Football League. You love them. You watch them because you love them, watch them because you hate them, but you're going to watch. That's just the way it is. And so they get all of the big-time, prime-time matchups. Their schedule is just littered with stuff. And, frankly, the AFC is the better conference in the National Football League right now in terms of pure talent. Yeah, the NFC has the Eagles, and they've got the Lions, but it's extremely top-heavy, right? The AFC, you still have, as injury-riddled as the Ravens are still the Ravens. The Bengals are still the Bengals, even without Joe Burrow, right? You've got the Bills. The AFC West as a division is so much better than it was when Mahomes first started in Kansas City. So you pair that with the fact that they've got to go on the road to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, and they've got the Commanders coming to town here in a couple of weeks. They got the Lions coming to town next week. So you're playing the best of the best in the AFC every week. Not to mention the NFL says, oh, we're also going to throw the best teams in the NFC at you too, just because we feel like it. And I still think this is a 10-11 win football team. And
it's what they do.
Yeah, I think that 11 wins can push the Chargers. I think 12 could win you the AFC West, as long as one of those 12 wins is that second matchup against the Chargers.
I know they drafted Amarian Hampton, the Chargers did, but for that ground attack, and because Harbaugh likes it. But you're without Slater; he's not playing the whole year with that patellar injury. Joe Alt's now hurt, so your bookends are now aren't that. Hey man, you can say next man up and everything else, but when you start losing your bookends, things get really thin.
Oh, and you saw it in the second half when Alt was out and he came back after halftime with the boot.
Big difference.
You saw the New York Giants just pin their ears back and tee off on Justin Herbert. Didn't matter what those interior linemen tried to do. Those tackles for the Chargers had no answers against a New York Giants front four that is among the best in football, and a New York Giants front four that the Chiefs handled pretty well the previous week.
Yeah, but Alt, one of those guys too. Like, it didn't really matter if he moved right to left because he played left in Notre Dame. So he was left, but he went to the Chargers. They had Slater. They put him at right, which is fine. You're set of tackles. Now you don't. Now life comes at you fast. Lucky for them, Quentin Johnston's actually catching the football.
Yeah.
That's the good news for them. Ladd McConkey will be part of this offense at some point.
We'll see. This man was wide receiver one by a wide margin a year ago, and now all of a sudden it's like, we got Quentin Johnston and 33-year-old Keenan Allen. Forget about it, Ladd McConkey.
Here's the deal with Keenan. I know he's 33. I was hammering back in May and June. It's like, this dude's just sitting around, man. And then in August, but August 30 signs with the Chargers. Like, wait a minute. I know he's 33, but he's tremendous in the slot, and he wants a ring.
Always been a reliable pass catcher.
And against the Chiefs in 16 games, he's got 98 for 1151. It's like, so you get him twofold. You bring him in when Rice is out, but you keep him away from the Chargers. But here nor there, he does lead the Chargers in receptions, not yards and touchdowns. That's Johnston. But Johnston's catching the football.
He's still got 24 grabs for 231 and 3 touchdowns.
He's serviceable,
in 4
man.
games.
He's serviceable.
Always has.
He's just sitting around. And I don't know if the Chiefs called him or would have called him, would he have done it? I just have this theory that a lot of times these veterans, 33 years old, they look at the big picture of things and think of, okay, where's my best chance at a ring? Well, I probably have one in Kansas City. And I might be featured when Rashee Rice is out.
Right. It's just a matter of, I think the Chiefs probably were pretty confident in what they had. And looking back at it now, rightfully so, right? I mean, they saw something with Tyquan Thornton that nobody else was seeing, right? And they knew they were going to get hot. They had already re-signed Hollywood, and he was going to be back, and Worthy, and who could have seen the shoulder thing coming, plus Rashee Rice coming back. You've got 2 tight ends in Travis and Noah Gray. I think that Keenan saw that there was probably a log jam, and the Chiefs understood the log jam and what the price tag on Keenan Allen was going to be, and it just didn't make a ton of sense.
It looks better now with Tyquan. Last year, Andy Reid during mini camps, he was talking about Tyquan, which he rarely does about, quote, camp guys.
Right.
But he was a second-round pick. And New England screwed up a lot of people when Belichick left and Brady left.
They sure did, Jacob.
Really, when Brady left, Juju couldn't make it there. He works out here in Kansas City. Tyquan Thornton, but they were talking about him. And Reid was talking about that chemistry with Mahomes. And he was on this practice squad through the run last year. So he got used to the Kansas City Chiefs. But anyway, hammer the Kansas City Chiefs over the Jaguars. Looks like the rain that you've heard about a ton looks like it's just going to be a little spit.
No question.
Tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be – and Mahomes likes –
Yeah, he likes the elements. The Jaguars, to win this football game on Monday, they're going to have to force the Chiefs offense into mistakes, which they don't do, and they're going to have to run the football, which the Kansas City Chiefs do not allow. Trevor Etienne is their offense right now. He's averaging close to 100 yards a game.
Once Bigsby wins, it's his job. Him and Basil Tootin.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Trevor Lawrence is completing less than 60% of his passes. He's got 5 touchdown passes this year to 4 interceptions. So he does make mistakes with the football. Trevor Lawrence, in my opinion, is not the kind of quarterback in this league that can just flat out take a game over and beat you.
Because the Chiefs and Spagnuolo, they will take somebody out like they typically do. Like last year, no running back at 100 yards against them.
Exactly.
Nobody. And he'll find somebody who says, all right, we'll take out Trevor. We'll take ADT in. make Trevor Lawrence beat us. Like, that's what he'll say, and he can't do it.
No, he can't do it, and he can't do it with his arm, can't do it with his legs. Him and Brian Thomas Jr., their connection that they had a year ago has been completely severed. I mean, I saw this earlier this week, boggled my mind. Brian Thomas has 13 catches on 32 targets.
He's dropping it like crazy.
So far this year. He has really regressed. Those two guys are not on the same wavelength, and they got rid of every other weapon in their offense. They did improve the offensive line, I will say that. He's only been sacked 3 times through the first 4 weeks of the season. But again, look at who they're playing. Outside of Trey Hendrickson, and I mean, Danielle Hunter has really regressed. Will Anderson hasn't taken the leap that we thought he would. I'm not bought in at all. And Jacksonville gives up the 8th most passing yards in the NFL. I look for Mahomes to just tee off.
And the other thing is Travis Hunter, who had been really splitting offensive defensive snaps last week against the Niners, just 9 snaps on defense. It was down to 13% from around the 50-60 mark, and he was heavily on offense, 55%. So what they said is they need Travis Hunter over on the offensive side of the ball more. And who knows this week if they're facing Mahomes? Who knows if
they said this
what Travis will do? But it looks like Travis has been trending to go more on offense.
Right, but they have said this week that they're leaning towards more defensive.
Yeah.
They need him more on the defensive side of the football when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs.
They need him both.
Everybody's terrified of number 15 in red.
Good stuff. Logan Weber, awesome stuff today with fantasy football, my friend. You got to go mow?
Got to go mow the yard. It's got to get done today.
So Logan's going to go mow the yard and watch some Red Zone.
Yes, sir. We're going to have a good day. It's a good Sunday. I know there's no Chiefs football, but we can still enjoy it.
You know what? No Chiefs football means happy Red Zone day because Red Zone is going to be perfect today. Anyway, we'll take a timeout, come back, and we'll look more at this matchup. I have Drew Nixon talking college football coming up at 11. Thanks a lot, Logan.
No problem at all.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Good morning, Casey's Country. Darn good coffee's now 49 cents when you buy any breakfast sandwich or burrito. Some are calling it a great deal. I call it sensational. I'm so sorry. Bad joke. Good deal, though. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. See store for details.
This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we help this patient.
Hi, this is Doug. I'm a patient with Heartland Men's Health. I've been doing low T treatment for just under a year now. I've always dedicated my life to work. I've always found the time to go to gym. I'm 46 years old. My energy level has been on a roller coaster. With work, when we would have like long, stressful meetings, I would notice that I was very exhausted and drained afterwards. And with the low T treatment, I'm not as stressed. I started to feel a lot more level-headed. The roller coaster kind of went away. I think Heartland Men's Health, they really have it figured out. The professional staff, I think it's a wonderful treatment for men of any age. And it's definitely a benefit I'm going to continue.
Thank you. It's true. Your initial appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Don't you just love an NFL Sunday? You got your boys, your couch, your snacks, your favorite games, and FanDuel is sprinkling in something a little bit extra. This isn't just a normal NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your favorite go-to player prop, and they're making it even better at FanDuel because they're bringing the bonuses. That's right. All customers can get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. So however you play your game, FanDuel's got your back when it comes to putting a little extra into your account because that's what Sundays should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code KFNZ to download the app and get in on the action right before kickoff. And remember, FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of 96.5 The Fan and also the NFL. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable profit boost. Tokens restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Get out with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Catch every divisional series swing at Twin Peaks. Lock in on your favorite bar stool, cheer your team toward the championship, and relax with a delicious handcrafted cocktail. Batter up. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on Earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health. but you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
96.5 The Fan is your exclusive home for Chiefs football, with pregame starting 3 hours before kickoff with Josh Briscoe. Then it's the call of the game with Mitch Holtis, Dayton Hughes, and Josh Klingler.
Caught! Touchdown! Kansas City! Travis Kelce owning this game!
Followed by postgame coverage featuring exclusive one-on-one interviews with Andy Reid and Chiefs players inside the locker room. This is your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back, 96.5 The Fan. Jay Binkley, Jacob Muster producing the operation. 10-7, Browns over the Vikings. Looks like the Vikings just got in the end zone. Carson Wentz has returned to action for the Minnesota Vikings. But you're welcome, London. You're welcome for the Browns and Vikings. Enjoy it. Enjoy Red Zone Sunday, everybody. Enjoy the Chiefs sitting there. Don't have a game till Monday night. I'm sure that ESPN is so glad it's not last week when it was the Jets and the Dolphins. And they had another game, the Browns and the Bengals minus Joe Burrow. Rough night for football last Monday, but I think things turn around. We got college football now. We have the midweek games. So, we got baseball playoffs. I mean, it's just this is a great month of sports. I mean, October is a great freaking month of sports. Between football, baseball, college football, getting into the meat and potatoes of the schedule, in conference football in full swing. You get past that quarter mark here at halftime. Now that's 17 games. But 913-586-7965 is the phone number. It's also the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Before I dive into the haters have returned, because they have, let's go to Neil, the mayor of Lone Jack. What's up, Neil?
Good morning, Jay. Logan, if you're listening, and I'm assuming you are, I'm just going to put any reservations you have about the division to rest. Logan, if you're listening, I'm guaranteeing you 12 wins, maybe 13. This team will not lose another 2 or 3 games at the most. We're going to take care of business Monday night. Monday night's feeling to me like opening day 2020 when we went there after the Super Bowl into Jacksonville and we had a long pass to number 14 right off the bat, early in the game. The lizard, the reptilian alien, Sammy Watkins, and we blew the doors off of those Jacksonville Jaguars. I believe we will do that again, and I do believe we're going to beat Detroit. This offense is getting unlocked, and when we get Rashee Rice back, the offense will be completely unlocked. We're not even hardly using Brashard Smith yet. We're hardly using Noah Gray. This offense is about to go off, and the NFL is going to be in total fear, and the Chargers will win the division by probably 2 games. This is an incredible month for sports, Jay. I couldn't agree with you more. The Gators finally got off the schneid. Shout out to Chris Unocero. The Gators finally got off the schneid, which does concern me a little bit, to be honest with you, because now they might go on a run, which would be good for Billy Napier, and that's not necessarily a good thing for Gator Nation.
Yeah, Florida
So
needs
I
to
have
go to
mixed
a
emotions
place.
about that.
One thing,
but-
Neil. So one
yeah.
thing, Neil. You have the Chiefs getting 2 more losses, 1 to 2 more.
Yeah, maybe 3 most.
They can
3
lose
at the most.
They can lose 6 or 7 and be fine. They could go 11-6, and they're still, priority number 1, target number 1 going the offseason. But you do have the Lions. The Lions are no joke this year. It's a tough game. At Washington with Jaden Daniels, but that's a home game. At Buffalo, you know how that usually goes. Chiefs don't usually play them well in the regular season. The postseason, they have their number. At Denver, one thing about the schedule I really like is the amount of home games in December. 3 games at home in December with Houston, the Chargers, and Denver. Your road games that month are at Tennessee, and Tennessee is a huge bundle of suck at this point, and then Arrowhead West in Las Vegas. So need to take care of business before. But again, remember, they won the division last year by 4 games. They won 15, still went to the Super Bowl, and they probably shouldn't have won 15 games, but they did. But regardless, there are some tough games coming up on the schedule. They do get Rice back right after Detroit. They need Rice for that Detroit. That would have been nice.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, so we maybe we lose either Detroit or Buffalo. Maybe we lose one more division game. But that's 2. So then, so maybe we slip up somewhere else along the line.
Even if you lose 3
right,
more, man, if you're 12-5, you're fine. You're fine. The Chiefs are going to be fine. And you know what? A couple
100%.
years ago, people said they couldn't win on the road, and then they go to Buffalo in the playoffs and win. Then they go to Baltimore and win, which I always thought it was funny because Mahomes has a better completion percentage on the road. He's got almost 1,400 more yards in just 2 more games on the road than at home. That's like averaging 700 yards if you're going to break down the 2 games on the road. But they can play on the road. Again, I think they're everybody's worst nightmare once they start becoming good because the powers that be around the NFL don't look like juggernauts, man. They don't. It looks like there's a weakness. And the Buffalo Bills, they've got a top 20 easiest schedule of all time. So they're going to get their wins. I think Buffalo's going to be undefeated when the Chiefs beat them. But again, you don't play anybody, and you start to feel good about yourselves. That's fine. Let Buffalo do their thing. And they get the Hallmark movie this year, but it'll turn on Josh Allen at some point. But regardless, Bengals without Burrow, different team. But who are the powers to be? The Ravens have everybody hurt. That was going to be a powers to be. Buffalo and the Ravens, that was going to be a gauntlet, those 2 teams. And then the Chiefs. Is it just the Chiefs and the Bills? That's the question.
Exactly. And the Bills have holes on defense. We don't. Not nearly as many as they do, anyway.
No.
I believe we'll go into Buffalo and possibly win. I mean, it's a regular season. Yeah, they've had our number in the regular season. But you know what? We never had 2 losses early in the season, and we've never been quite as desperate to – I mean, yeah, I agree with you. They're probably going to be undefeated, and I didn't say a word about the number 1 seed. I wouldn't be surprised if they do get the number 1 seed this year, but we've already proven we can take that back away from them like a candy baby.
What kind of candy? Like a maple bar? Oktoberfest
you name
beer?
it,
What are we
bro.
talking about?
What's
Candy
your favorite,
apple?
bro? What's your favorite, Jay? What's your favorite candy?
I'm not a huge candy guy, but I do like Oktoberfest beer. I do like a good maple bar, right? A little Vermont.
There you go, like a Paver's Porter from a baby.
Yeah, I did try those Reese's peanut butter cups with the peanut butter and the Oreo combination. I don't know if you've got these yet, Neil.
The caramel ones are good.
No,
I'm not a fan of the peanut butter and jelly ones.
Well, you stop by your local gas station in Lone Jack and get yourself that combination of Reese's and Oreo. Trust me, man. I will not let you down. I will not let you down.
The Phillips 66 is open again in Lone Jack. You can buy
go get it,
alcohol
man.
again.
Get there in Lone Jack, man. Let's do it, Neil. All right, man. You have a good day. Enjoy Red Zone today. Looking forward to that. But, Jacob, have you noticed the haters return? Remember I got a text last week says, no way he's hating on the Chiefs. I was like, man, wake up, man. Of course, the Chiefs love it. I'm just used to it at this point. But they've returned. They took a couple days there, like the Chiefs back, and then right back at it, man. Right back at it. Mark Schlereth, go Jacksonville and all this. Chris Canty in the morning on ESPN. Everybody's picking the Jags. Now they're picking the Chiefs' continued downfall. And I say, okay, if not the Chiefs, then who? Who is that magic team in the AFC? It doesn't exist, except for Buffalo. But they have that easy schedule.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought was Buffalo, and then everybody before you started the season would say Baltimore, but Baltimore's fallen off a cliff now, and Buffalo's, got the AFC East schedule. and they're playing a very, very, easy schedule, but you got to beat who you're put in front of.
100%. It's the NFL.
And if that doesn't
Everybody's
happen,
good.
then
It's the
you're
NFL.
not going to win.
Everybody's good. Everybody's good. You're rare just to get to the NFL. CBS had this deal where they put teams in tiers. It was right there on the front page of CBS Sports. They said, see you at the draft. Panthers, Bengals, Browns, Saints, Jets, Titans. That's accurate there. Here's who they consider their top tier on ESPN. This is funny. They said probably good, and they put the Chiefs, Chargers, Niners, Seahawks, Bucks. But their ultimate tier, the inner circle, they say, for now, in parentheses. They got the Bills. Okay. They get the Lions. Okay. Then they put the Packers. Have you not watched the Packers last couple of weeks? They lose to the Browns, tying the Cowboys. Then they put the Rams and the Eagles. Yes, the Eagles belong there. The Rams, and keep in mind, I looked at the timestamp on this story when they put it out, is before the Rams lost last week. But no, Green Bay, I know people love them. Micah Parsons go there. They have a ton of issues, man. The Packers are not one of the elite teams in the AFC, or the NFL, with the NFC. And I know people are down on the Eagles because their offense is so bad, and you got people whining about getting the ball. They still win, though. 20 last 21, they win. So until they lose, they stay.
I agree with that. The Eagles are in the opposite conference, so it's hard to kind of compare them because we only get one matchup, and they don't play a ton of similar teams as the Chiefs. So they're hard to judge, but like you said, they've won 20 of their last 21 games, and I think they're undefeated with when Jalen Hurts is the starter and not Gardner or Kenny Pickett as the backup. But it's just I see the Lions and the Bills in that tier. You could convince me the Rams are there just with Stafford and Puka and Devontae Adams. They got a really solid offense, and their defense is pretty good too. I think they just got out coached by Shanahan Thursday night, and you can toss some of those matchups away due to coaching sometimes.
Hey, let me say this about Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan. I know they lost the Jags. That was actually a very good win for Jacksonville when you look at their schedule, who they beat, who they haven't. The Niners game was good. They've got everybody hurt, right? The Ravens have everybody hurt. Well, so do the Niners. George Kittle's out after the first game. Bosa's out. Their quarterback, Brock Purdy's out. The receivers are all out. They got the old Chiefs on there, and Demarcus Robinson, MVS, Sky Moore. Yeah, I don't feel bad for them because Mahomes has won rings with those guys. But regardless, they're hurt. But instead of using excuses like everybody is for the Baltimore Ravens, the Niners actually win. And what Shanahan's doing by that team continuing to win is just good coaching. It's great coaching, but it shows this whole who are the best teams in the NFL? On the NFC side, it's clearly the Eagles. And the Lions make a statement to be one of the best teams in the NFC. And then the AFC, people are waiting for the Burrow-led Bengals. Burrow had a MVP-type season last year, didn't get it because they didn't make the playoffs, and the defense was so bad. But without Burrow, they're different. The Ravens are clearly not a team that belongs in the upper tier. And then there's the 2-2 Chiefs. People are too afraid to put the Chiefs. They're too afraid to put the Chiefs in that upper tier. And they'll make them do it. It's the whole saying, they make them do it. Make them do it, because they will. And when you have a team that's gone to 7 straight AFC title games, 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, yeah, they're 2-2, but their best player on offense, Rashee Rice, is coming back after week 6. That does make a difference. But yeah, do the Chiefs belong as one of those better teams in the AFC? 100%. Let's go back to the phone lines, 913-586-7965. Talk to Big T in Shawnee. What's up, Big T?
Hey, Bink. How's it going, man?
How are you, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing well, Bink. It's a beautiful time of year, man. We could all dig this time of year. You got Major League Baseball playoffs, you got college football, and you got the NFL. And how about them Bruins yesterday, putting it to them Penn Staters? Why do I love that?
You know what? It's fine. I love college football. It's fine, but let's get some colder weather, which is weird because you flip on the game. It was on CBS Sports Network last night. It was UNLV in Wyoming, and they had all the snow. And it's like, oh, man. So they have snow there, and we've got this heat everywhere else, but hopefully it'll start to cool down. But, yes, how about UCLA? And the one thing about UCLA that's funny, Jerry Neuheisel, Rick's son, was calling the plays, but he's getting all the run. He was not the interim head coach. That was Tim Skipper. But everybody thought Neuheisel, everybody's giving him it's weird to see the offensive coordinator get all the credit. But, hey, props to UCLA beating Penn State. But I'm telling you, there's something, and when you bet games, Big T, keep this in mind. These East Coast teams that go to West Coast because they're in the same conference now, they don't have a lot of good fate. There's not a lot of good fortune. From West Coast teams going to the East Coast or East Coast going to the West Coast, this is what we've seen the last 2 years in the Big Ten.
Yeah, that's a big time zone swing. That's a good point, Bink. Also, man, I got to give a shout-out to the Blue Jays. They whooped up on them Skankies. Hell yeah, I hate the Yankees. When you come out and grow up in my house, you loathe the Yankees.
Without Bichette.
Yeah, they left him off the playoff roster, and the Yankees are cooked, man. I hope Toronto sweeps their asses. I hate the Yankees. You know how much I hate them. Vern does, too.
I think everybody does.
But, yeah, hey, Bink, So, I love it when everybody poo-poos the Chiefs because you know what they do? They're just gonna rip your throats out. They're just gonna rip your throats out. They're gonna go to the playoffs again. They're gonna go to the Super Bowl again, and they're gonna win the Super Bowl again. I'm sick of this disrespect. The week before they had us as underdogs at Arrowhead against Baltimore. Come on, that's disrespectful. What do the Chiefs do? I love it when they disrespect our Chiefs.
Yeah, and then everybody was crying because the Ravens were hurt. Well, they were hurt going into that game. Let's not forget that. Yes, they got hurt, but they were hurt going into that game.
I know, man, and it's like every year after year, and then the Josh Allen and Bengals. How about sense of crap, Addy? Boy, Detroit's going to put it to them today. Load up on touchdown scores out there, everybody, and then Bink. Talk about Buffalo. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Yeah, they do that. They got the easy schedule, and all they beat it. I don't care what they do during the regular season. Come playoff time. Instead of Sean McDermott, it's Sean McDormand, and then they barrel roll over the American side of the Niagara because there's nothing up there to do after we kick their ass. And how about Noah Williams? That kid's a stud. Way to go, Brett Veach. Another feather in your cap. And how about Leo Chenal making that interception? That was badass. Talk about that dude. He's not only strong, but that athletic play to turn around. That was a fantastic play by him. And today, or not today, but tomorrow, we're going to whip up on some Jaguar ass. It's disrespectful that they have us all 3.5. No, we're going to kick their lily asses, and as always, let's go Chiefs. Choo-choo! Choo-choo-choo!
There you go. Big T's awake, Jacob. I mean, he's ready to kick everybody's asses. I like that fire, man. What do you think tomorrow's going to be like? Chiefs fans, they've had enough, man. They were knocked down. Now they're back. Anyway, regardless, I'll go to some tail of the tape between the Jags and the Chiefs next.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine. You could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt. But you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. But listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. That's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. Cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. Imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt, and you can stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. Get your all-cash offer now. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State. New Missouri customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. And when we go live, place just a $5 bet to unlock $300 in bonus bets. Starting November 17th, you can create your DraftKings Sportsbook account in Missouri and get ready for launch day on December 1st. DraftKings Sportsbook brings you everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Morning, Zoe. Got donuts.
Jeff Bridges, why are you still living above our garage?
Well, I dig the mattress, and I want to be in a T-Mobile commercial like you. Teach me, Saldana.
Oh, no, I'm not really prepared. I couldn't possibly. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 17 Pro on them. It's designed to be the most powerful iPhone yet and has the ultimate pro camera system.
Wow, impressive. Let me try. T-Mobile is the best place to get iPhone 17 Pro because they've got the best network.
Nice, Jeffrey.
You heard them. T-Mobile is the best place to get the new iPhone 17 Pro on us with eligible trade-in in any condition.
So, what are we having for lunch?
Dude, my work here is done.
With 24 monthly bill credits on Experience Beyond for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits ended, balance due if you pay off earlier or cancel. Finance agreement iPhone 17 Pro, 256 gigs, $1,099.99 and new line minimum $100 plus a month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data 1H2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
And welcome back. Sunday morning, Jay Binkley, Jacob Muster producing the operation. Over in London, the Browns up 17-14 over the Minnesota Vikings. By the way, there's some significance to this game for Dillon Gabriel. Obviously, he's getting a chance. He was drafted higher than Shedeur, but he gets to start. You know, clearly everybody's wanting Shedeur down there, but Dillon was drafted ahead of him. On X from Adam Schefter, Dillon Gabriel is attempting to become the first Browns quarterback since 1999 to win his first career start. Since 1999, which, by the way, has been 41 quarterbacks since then. Since 99, Browns quarterbacks making their first starter 0-16 while throwing 14 touchdowns, 22 interceptions, and leading to only 14.1 points per game on average. He's already at 17. So props to Dillon Gabriel, props to the Cleveland Browns. Nice work over there. But the Chiefs and the Jags, I mean, the weather's looking a little bit better. I mean, yeah, it's been raining a lot there, but it looks like that should dissipate a little bit. Now, it was slotted towards it, and people looking at the numbers, and the Jags are fourth best in running in the NFL, fourth best run defense as well, only giving up 82.8 points a game. You know, the Chiefs don't make it an emphasis to run the football. Jacksonville, very good at not allowing sacks, 32nd in the NFL. They've only given up 3 sacks all year, and they've been heavily running the ball. Trevor Lawrence is still a liability for that team. But the one thing they are number one at that is rarely mentioned, they are number one in penalties. So the Jags are number one in penalties as well. That doesn't bode well for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, they're +9 in turnover ratio. Chiefs aren't bad in that area either. They're +3. They're +3. They haven't had a chance. They haven't had a chance to play Browning, man, with the Bengals. They got 3 picks off him. That makes a difference. That makes a third of the difference to their turnover ratio at that point. But, yes, I'm very high on the Chiefs tomorrow against the Jags. And you know they're not going to overlook it because you get Detroit coming in on Sunday night after that. It's one of those games you don't overlook it. You don't overlook a 3-1 team. You don't overlook anybody in the NFL. But Jacksonville, we've seen this, man. You know, they got to the AFC title game against the Patriots with Blake Bortles, and everybody was chanting Duval and sticking their chest out and excited and swimming in that little pool they have at their stadium. And then they come back to earth, and they fire coaches. They bring on Herb and fire him. bring in Doug Peterson. He gets run. We actually made a playoff game against the Chiefs a few years ago. Then what happened? Everybody was chanting Duvall. The players were saying best fans in the NFL, which is simply not true. It's why Jacksonville's always playing in London. It's why they tarp off the upper deck. So spare me the Duvall chance because you're not there when they lose. Or that tarp wouldn't be on the upper deck. Or you wouldn't be playing in London. This year it's just once. Usually it's twice. So you wouldn't be playing over there if you're that tough. But your relevancy is due to a really bad schedule so far to this point. Again, I think Jacksonville's 1-3 if they had the same schedule as the Chiefs. Jacob, good day for Red Zone. I don't know if you're a Red Zone fan. To all those that celebrate Red Zone, it's going to be a beautiful day for that. I'm sure a lot of people are diving or will be diving into that coming up. And then tonight, you got your team, man. It's the Buffalo Bills in their rivalry uniforms, the Icy Whites, going against New England Patriots. Remember how much they used to dominate the Bills? I think Brady was 32 of 35 against the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It wasn't really a rivalry. It was just domination.
It was. I think America, at least in this part, will be going for the Patriots tonight to beat the Buffalo Bills. They got to start taking those L's at some point. I really hope the Ravens had beat them at 41-40 when they're up 40-25. Really hope that would have been an L for the Bills because we know the Ravens would quickly become what they are. But give the Bills those L's. But this is a chance for one of those tonight. And the rivalry uniform, keep in mind, you'll see these teams wearing them. They wear them for 3 years, and they wear them just once. This rivalry, this Nike rivalry uniforms. The Chiefs don't have their turn until 2027 because they're doing one division at a time. Again, you wear them one time throughout the year. But if you notice, the Bills, they don't have a new uniform. They're using their Icy Whites tonight.
It'll be a good matchup. I mean, it's really the Drake May show for the Patriots if he can continue his strong play. And Stephon Diggs, another revenge game opportunity for him on the Bills. I know that relationship ended pretty abruptly and roughly. And I just think we're in for a good game.
I think so. And for New England and Vrabel understands divisional games, and I think he's a hell of a coach. I think he did a great job at Tennessee. I think Vrabel is going to be a really good coach in the National Football League, but he understands this, and he understands who's ahead in the division. Right now, it's the Buffalo Bills. They have all their attention. It's like the Chiefs, even though it wasn't divisional. When the Chiefs started rising to prominence, it was stopping the Patriots, stopping Tom Brady. It was bringing in Spags, who stopped Tom Brady. It was looking at the Steelers and what they've done, how they've always been relevant each and every year. So sometimes you have to look outside the division, look these teams that have extreme success. But Vrabel understands that, and he understands the Bills are in their way. It's the top dog in that division. So he understands that 100% when it comes to that. But looking forward to that game later as well. We'll take a timeout. Don't forget the phone number, 913-586-7965. Talk a little more about Chiefs and Jaguars, where they sit. And then we have Drew Nixon talking some college football, as usual, coming up at 11.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Trust, price, and ease of transaction. That's our philosophy at GiveMeTheVin.com. We love to buy cars. Fat ones, skinny ones, curvy ones, fast ones, slow ones, round ones, and square ones. Yes, square body Chevys. We buy them at GiveMeTheVin.com. Go to GiveMeTheVin.com right now, put yours in, and get a quote. We'd love to buy it. GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
DQ presents the sound of your next meal at DQ. It's the sound of savoring a signature stack burger, loving a chicken strip basket, or digging into everyday value with the $7 meal deal. Wait, where is the sound? Am I missing something? Oh, it's quiet because they're too busy enjoying their DQ food. Makes sense. So delicious and so peaceful. Grab your favorite from the DQ food menu today at participating U.S. locations. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
NFL Sunday's coming. You've got your crew, your couch, your snacks, your slate, and FanDuel's coming in with something extra. This isn't just another NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your go-to player prop. And now we're making it even better because this week FanDuel's bringing the bonus. That's right. Right now, all customers can get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. However you play your game, FanDuel's got your back with something extra in your account because that's what Sundays should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com/Alex to download the app and get in on the action before kickoff. FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Welcome back to After Hours. Jay Binkley, Jacob Muster producing the operation. They showed the crowd. I love these overseas games when they just wear whatever jerseys, right? Saw some Texans jerseys sprinkled in. Saw some Patriots as well. It's clearly Mahomes jerseys represented in London. The funny thing was, Jacob, when we were talking about that game in Dublin, where all the cheeseheads were, they were their cheeseheads, even though they weren't there playing. As far as the injury report for the Chiefs for the game against Jacksonville, the official designations came out yesterday. Christian Fulton is questionable. Omar Norman-Lott is questionable as well. The big one for the Jags is Trayvon Walker, who's listed as questionable. He has 2 sacks so far on the season. He was the former number 1 overall pick. He was 1-1 back in 2022. Really hadn't lived up to that billing, but regardless, there he is on the injury report for Jacksonville. This game, though, it's in London right now, 17-14. We're down in the fourth quarter. Can the Browns knock off the Minnesota Vikings and Carson Wentz? We'll see. It's their 41st quarterback since 2000 Cleveland has used, and quarterbacks making their first starter 0-16 since that time. Can he run that trend? Or we have more drama between Shedeur Sanders and the Dylan Gabriel-led Cleveland Browns at this point? We shall see. But tomorrow night, it's going to be fun. A lot of people, of course, picking the haters are back out. They're picking the Jags to win this game, that they've arrived. They haven't arrived. They haven't arrived anywhere.
Fumble.
Oh, we have fumble? Whose ball?
Looks to be Cleveland after the initial, but that's everybody pointing for whoever they want.
It's a clear fumble. And whoever gets the ball, Vikings trying to come back right about midfield, fumbled the ball back to Cleveland. I like these morning games, Jacob. I love 8:30 in the morning, boom, you have kickoff. So there is some redeeming quality of that because you have this nice window. I just wish they'd have teams play that were actually relevant. But we're not seeing that at this point. The Chiefs will always play these international games. They're just not playing this one. But it's interesting. But Fulton's not playing. Norman Lott's not playing. But again, the Chiefs, the confidence they felt. And I know a couple weeks ago they beat just the Giants. But the Giants were coming off a moral victory. There's no such thing as moral victories, right? But for them it was. They gave the Cowboys all they wanted. Russell Wilson, 450 yards, 3 touchdowns. Then he plays the Chiefs, and he's throwing the ball in the tunnel. And he gets benched for Jackson Dart. Props to the Giants because they did beat the Los Angeles Chargers last week. So that was good. So there were some good things that happened from that. But you keep a bad team down. And that's what Chiefs did. Last two, against the Giants and against the Eagles, the Chiefs only allowed 261 total yards passing. That was the Eagles and the Giants game. The Chiefs done very good against the pass. This defense starting to gel together. They're 8th in points against right now. That's the only stat that matters. Last year, 4th in points against. Year before that, 2nd in points against. Tyquan Thornton has definitely become a weapon on the offense. He will be sprinkled in. Once Rice comes back, you'll have a heavy dose of Rice, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy, who, by the way, man, I was listening to him on Rich Eisen's show this week. You know, he never missed a game. Pop Warner, high school, knew he was tough at Texas. Despite his diminutive size, never missed a game until play 3 where he ran into Kelsey. That's the only time he's ever missed. But he looked fresh. I always thought, okay, he's going to be slower coming back. You know, you have the brace. It's going to, take some time. Dude looked 100%. That shows that he wasn't even able to lift his arm the previous couple of weeks. Wasn't able to lift his arm since what happened in Brazil. I'm sure that flight home, 12 hours, was a lot of fun for Xavier Worthy on that. But he looks different. It rejuvenated the Chiefs' offense. Sprinkle in more and more Brashard Smith as we go down the line. But, I'm looking forward to next week's games. The next couple are great because this one, then you get the Lions at home. Good stuff for the Kansas City Chiefs. Anyway, come back. It's time to turn the page to college football with my dude, Drew Nixon.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HoldTitleLock.com now, promo code RADIO.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Don't you just love an NFL Sunday? You got your boys, your couch, your snacks, your favorite games, and FanDuel is sprinkling in something a little bit extra. This isn't just a normal NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your favorite go-to player prop, and they're making it even better at FanDuel because they're bringing the bonuses. That's right. all customers can get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. So however you play your game, FanDuel's got your back when it comes to putting a little extra into your account, because that's what Sundays should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code KFNZ to download the app and get in on the action right before kickoff. And remember, FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of 96.5 The Fan and also the NFL. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable profit boost. Tokens restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Get out with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
This fall, refresh your home with a special offer from Westlake Ace Hardware. Enjoy $10 off bin interior paint gallons October 1st through 31st. With an easy-to-apply, easy-to-maintain formula, Bin Interior offers an introduction into the beauty and durability of Benjamin Moore premium paint. Hurry into Westlake Ace Hardware for this limited time savings and keep your spaces looking beautiful for years to come. Offer valid in store only, so visit Westlake Ace Hardware today. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Welcome back, 96.5 The Fan. Jay Binkley, Jacob Muster producing the operation. Time to talk some college football, as we do on Sundays, with my dude, Drew Nixon. He's the host of the 249 Miles of College Football podcast right here on Odyssey, and also, of course, the producer of Cody and Gold, Monday through Friday, 10 to 2. Well, Drew, SEC Network said they're going to Columbia and back to Columbia. They was there a couple weeks ago, and then in College Game Day, he's going to Oregon versus Indiana. So both treats.
Is Paul Feinbaum still going to be with SEC Network, Bink?
I assume so. It's Marty McGee coming, the whole crew, Tebow, the whole work. So they came a couple weeks ago. So yeah, they were probably to sit there. This would have been a good day for College Game Day at Columbia. That would have been exciting. But of course, they're playing Alabama. They were just at Alabama last week. So they get a good one with Oregon in Indiana. I brought up, Drew, you know how Penn State got throttled by UCLA?
That game was interesting.
I'm telling you, these time zones do make a difference, man. When you cross 3 time zones, you go over the central, over the mountain to the West Coast. It seems weird, but you're starting to see these numbers between East-West, West-East in the Big Ten. But yeah, that was quite something. Everybody loves Jerry Neuheisel, who was calling the offense. They're almost giving him the credit as the head coach. He wasn't the interim head coach. He was just the coordinator.
I think the reason I think that correct. The head coach deserves credit. Interim head coach deserves credit. His name escapes me right now, but yes, Tim Skipper has been outstanding. He's just brought in. He hasn't skipped a beat. It seems like
this is his third time as an interim.
I think that he should be the interim, obviously, the rest of the season, and he is outstanding, and evidently the players believe in him. But Jerry Neuheisel, Bink, for an offense, they scored more points in the first half against Penn State, Bink, than they did against New Mexico for the entire game.
It was insanity.
Whatever Jerry Neuheisel did, whatever speech he gave, whatever it was, and in post-game he was talking about how much he loves UCLA and loves the kids. It feels like and UCLA is in a really rough spot, Bink, you know this, in terms of just NIL, in terms of belief from the program. They're in Los Angeles, of all things. They need somebody who loves the school to rebuild it up, and this guy loves the school. So I think it's a really cool story. Obviously, not so much if you're a Penn State fan, because holy cow, what in the world happened to Jim Knowles' defense?
Can you imagine had they beat Oregon and then lost that game to UCLA? It would have thrown everything in turmoil. We'll start with the local schools here, though, Drew. Kansas parlays a nice loss against Cincinnati. Cincinnati, of course, won this weekend as well. Cincinnati looks like a really good team, and Kansas loses to them. Then they go on the road in the rain, play UCF that's coming off a loss the previous week to Kansas State, but Kansas didn't look great, but they did enough to win that game. They had to win that game. That was one they needed to win.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that, and this is interesting, in college sports, we do this thing where, like, good loss, bad loss, and that sort of stuff. It happens in college basketball. It even happens going into, college softball and college baseball with how they do the NCAA tournaments and stuff. That loss to Cincinnati doesn't look as bad now as it did maybe last week, where, of course, you want to win the game and all these other things. A win obviously would have looked great with them beating Iowa State, but for them to be able to bounce back in the way that they did, Lance Leipold, the one thing that everybody was critical last week, and you and I did disagreed with it, was the time management stuff from Lance Leipold. It's like, well, he didn't deserve to be bashed like that. It was the defense. They had third down, and they didn't go for the win, Bink, and I was really, really confused by that move by Lance Leipold because of the way the defense has been. Now, credit to the defense, they bowed up and they got the stop late. They pitched a shutout, Bink, in the second half, too, which hopefully that momentum, if you're a Kansas fan, can carry you into next week where you have Texas Tech and Lubbock. You're going to need that second half sort of a performance from the defense in order to knock off Texas Tech, which looks like a well-oiled machine. But from the standpoint of Kansas being able to bounce back and get to 4-2, you're still keeping your chances of potentially getting to the Big 12 championship game alive. There's still a lot of game left to go, but yeah, it was a nice win for Kansas. You just keep on stacking those wins up. You'll take them however you can get them. A win is a win, especially on the road.
It gets tougher next week, though, because Texas Tech, 35-11 win over a previously undefeated Houston Cougars team. They hammered them. Bayron Morton looks like a great quarterback. That's who Kansas gets as a consolation prize next week. Next week at 9, I think it's a 6:30 game. But Texas Tech, to me, this looks like the Big 12 favorite, to be honest with you, but a huge game for Kansas next week at Tech.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is the one that stands. Like, if you're going to, I think before the season started, like we talked about, if you're going to make it to the Big 12 title game, these are the games that you got to win. And Texas Tech on the road, obviously we know how much money they've spent in NIL, and they've got a well-oiled machine, as you mentioned. Morton, the quarterback, has been very good. This is one of those that if you're going to make the Big 12 title game, you have to get. If they lose, the season's not over. They can still get to 7 or 8, which I think is kind of the expectation, really. The hope for people was that KU would give between 7 and 9 wins this year. They're still on pace to do that even with a loss. But I think the way defensively they finish things out, it should make them feel a lot better going into next week as opposed to what happened before where they could barely even get a stop against Cincinnati. They're going to have to come with their best effort on defense in order to win that game. It might be a shootout, Bank. I don't know what the over-under is, but you might want to hit the over if you're going to be tuning in and betting on that Texas Tech-Kansas game next week.
Texas Tech's defensive line looks great. That team, a lot of people not paying attention to it, but don't forget they got as much money now as anybody in college football. That thing could turn into an absolute positive machine. So it's much better KU get a win before going in, who I think might be the Big 12 favorite, Texas Tech on the road. You don't want 2 losses in a row like that.
No,
if
man,
they lose.
Question.
Not saying they're going to lose, but.
Yeah. No. I think without question, you have to look at Texas Tech as the favorite to win this thing because of what happened with Iowa State this weekend, and then Arizona State is really good. BYU obviously is good too, but I'm not as much of a believer in BYU as I am Texas Tech, just because the way Texas Tech have kind of looked compared to BYU. I know BYU's undefeated, but it just feels like Texas Tech is a better team entirely. I think they're definitely the team to beat, which it's weird. I think some people thought that this season, but I still think a lot of people thought that they were a year away from getting there because of the NIL stuff, but they've turned the page very quickly over in Lubbock, Texas to become the Big 12 favorite, I think, in my mind, and everybody else is at least through 5 games.
Yeah, and that Cincinnati game with Sorsby at quarterback, they've turned things around. Iowa State takes their first loss against Cincinnati, 38-30, and Iowa State, they lose both their corners. One in practice the week before Arizona, one during the game. They lose Jeremiah Cooper and Jawtels Williams, their 2 starting corners, and man, did they need them against Cincinnati, who I didn't care. They just went on and won the game.
Yeah, I think that obviously when you're down your starters and you're playing against, or when you're down your starting corners and you're playing against a quarterback like Brennan Sorsby, who is very capable of hanging 300 yards on you, then obviously it makes it a lot tougher. Plus, they got in such a hole bank that they were able to come back and make it interesting late, but they were down, I think it was 31-7. I don't know if it was exactly that, or it was around. They were down by 20-some points. You go down like that, it doesn't matter who you're playing against. We saw with Penn State and UCLA. UCLA got out to a gap, and even Penn State couldn't come back from that deficit. So it felt like one of those for Iowa State where you shake it off and you're right back to it. But it'll be in the Big 12 bank, and you and I know this. We've talked about this before the season, during the summertime, even now. The Big 12. I think the SEC is very similar in the fact that they're just going to start not knocking each other off here. Like, I think BYU, I don't think they're staying undefeated. Texas Tech, who knows? They might lose one this upcoming weekend to KU. I think all what can break loose here over the next 4 to 5 weeks in both the SEC and the Big 12, because there are so many good teams in both of those conferences that it can be almost anybody's day on any given Saturday, and that's the way the college football is, man. And you don't get this in the NFL, where somebody who's a double-digit underdog ends up winning the game very often. I mean, in college football, the craziest stuff happens in these rivalry games, man. It just happens that way.
Yeah, it's K-State falls to 2-4, 1-2 in the Big 12 in a great game. If this game was over on ESPN Plus at that point, we carried it here on 96.5 The Fan. But 35-34, K-State loses to Baylor. Sawyer Robertson, one of the best under-talked-about quarterbacks in the nation. But Kansas State, they have that late lead. They're up 31-25. Jacob Redding picks the ball off for Baylor, goes 66 yards back for a touchdown. Then just a field goal from Kansas State, then a 53-yarder for Baylor with 31 seconds left to win. This is a crushing blow. I felt like K-State has played rejuvenated since that UCF game. They go one of two directions. They went the right direction. And Avery Johnson backed up a good performance last week with 339 yards, 2 touchdowns in this game. That 66-yard interception, that will stand out, though. Had another 72 yards rushing. So Avery Johnson seems to be back, but this is one K-State had to win over Baylor. Baylor's now 4-2, but it was a game right there for Kansas State. This was the game of the day, in my opinion.
It's very interesting when you look at this whole thing and how the season has gone. Kansas State, in a way, is kind of like KU last year, where they just couldn't win games. Like, all their games are close. Everyone's going down to the wire. K-State can't seem to make enough plays to win the game. Where last week, of course, they get the win, and we all think, okay, this is the K-State that we're used to, and all these other things. Avery Johnson looks great. He took the blame for the loss because of the pick six, but a lot of people were really discouraged, Bink, and I'm sure you saw this on social media too. They did not like the game that Matt Wells called, which I think can make some sense, but I think late down the stretch as well. So Avery Johnson throws the pick, and they go down, and they're inside the red zone. They're inside the 5. They decide to throw the ball twice and don't take any extra time off the clock, and I was really confusing. And Chris Kleiman said after the game, in hindsight, he would have ran the ball a little bit, to bleed more clock off. Well, of course, they make Baylor use their timeouts, don't mess around, and of course try to get in the end zone. Like, they had the ball at the 5-yard line and at the 3-yard line and threw it twice, both incompletions. Like, at least run the ball and try to see if you can get in, because Avery Johnson was able to use his legs effectively while Joe Jackson had a good game. It felt like they mismanaged the final little bit, but they go up, and it's like, okay, can they get a stop? And K-State didn't do good enough. Obviously, to get the job done, which is a brutal loss for Kansas State, essentially ending, if there was any sliver of hope of making it to the Big 12 title game, I didn't think there was. But then losing that certainly put the nail in the coffin. And, you look to next week where they play TCU and then they play Kansas, Bank. I mean, if they drop the game to TCU and they're 2-5, I'm not saying Chris Kleiman is going to get fired. I don't think he will, because we saw what happened with Mike Norvell. Like, they make it to a big bowl game and he goes 2-10 and he's not fired. I think it's a similar situation at K-State, but people are going to start to question the identity of Kansas State, and Chris Kleiman can't afford back-to-back seasons like this one if they go 4-8 or 5-7 or something along those lines, because I think that's just unacceptable for the Kansas State program that's got so much history. And plus, you want to keep Avery Johnson. You don't want him to go in the portal. You don't want to lose Lincoln Cure. Dare I say you lose Dylan Edwards as well. Like, you still have a lot to play for here in the last 7 to 8 games of the season.
Missouri was off, but it was still a win for Missouri with the off day. I'll explain in a second. But Alabama, number 10 ranked Alabama, they're going to go up. So Missouri's going to get a top 10 team in Columbia. Like Missouri needed Alabama to win for the Q rating of that game. Caleb DeBoer, the head coach of Alabama, now 5-1 against ranked teams. They beat Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia, 2 turnovers within the red zone. Missouri, they're the only team in the nation out of the 136 that's top 5 in both offense and defense. They have the number 1 total defense in the country. I get it. Opponents haven't played South Carolina there as far as conference. Ahmad Hardy came in as leading rusher in the nation, leading rusher in the SEC. We know Missouri's good, but that was a win for them, seeing Alabama get that win over Vandy, so it looks a little more. It's not a 2-loss Alabama Crimson Tide coming to Columbia. It's a 1-loss.
No, and the crowd obviously I think would be amped up either way, but knowing that it's Alabama with just the 1 loss and Ty Simpson's playing great and it's, big Alabama is in town, it's going to feel like a massive game as it is and as it should be felt that way. This is the one where it feels like if they're going to make the playoff bank, they kind of got to have this one. It just feels like it. I know that they can still make the playoff if they were to lose, they'd obviously have to win out. But it just feels like this is one of those that if they're destined for the playoff, the Missouri Tigers, it feels like they get this one next weekend. Obviously, you got Ahmad Hardy, who is climbing up the Heisman board, which he should be, and all these other things. But, I mean, if they beat Alabama, who is going to have one of the front runners of the Heisman Trophy, who is going to come off a double-digit win against Vandy, like to have all of that and for you to beat them, I think it's an opportunity more than anything else to showcase, like you said, their top 5 and top 5, or their top 5 offense and top 5 defense. Like, this is the biggest test of the season. Go out there and show why you're ranked as high as you are. And I think this team is talented enough to do it. It's just a matter of going out and showing. Yeah, of course, Ahmad Hardy, how good he is. 730 yards. Closest to him is Fluff Bothwell at Mississippi State, who only has 465. I mean, it's commanding lead in the SEC as far as rushing. We saw some other interesting games yesterday, Drew. Miami beat FSU. It was 3-18, 38-22. A&M beat Mississippi State. Florida upsets Texas and Arch Manning, an L for them as Florida Gators win 29-21. But I'll ask you this. Who's your best team in your country? Now, resume-wise, Miami. They've beaten Notre Dame. They had beaten the once undefeated UCF team. They've beaten now FSU. And they've got the best resume. Then there's Ohio State, who had a very impressive win 2 weeks ago when they went to Washington that was undefeated and beat them. Who's your consensus number 1 at this time, Ohio State or Miami? I still think it's Miami, Bink, and I know that I know that Ohio State has looked really good and all these other things, but I think part of it is the resume. I also think that if you were to put the two teams against each other, I think Julian Sayin continues to get better. I think he's the one where right now I still have questions about Julian Sayin, and I know that he's looked really good, but to what you might say, well, against who? Like, they played Texas's defense, and they obviously won the game. But Texas, I think a lot of us have kind of seen the writing on the wall for them the last couple of weeks. The fact that they've been in the top 10, I don't know if we've been buying that even the last couple of weeks, and then they lose to Florida. So I want to see it from Julian Sayin a couple more times to say Ohio State's the best. I think they're a close second, but I think Miami's the best team in the country. They got the best O-line, the best D-line. It looks tenacious. They kind of let Florida State back in the game a little bit late, but I feel like Carson Beck is the best version of himself that we've ever seen. And to that, I think that it feels like this Miami team is just different than in years past where they make mistakes, whether it's coaching or on the field. It feels like Miami is the best team in the country, Bink, but I think Ohio State's a close second right now.
It's next weekend. There's still some good games, but not great games. 2 weeks ago was excellent. But this weekend, my friend, Alabama, Missouri, Indiana, Oregon, Oklahoma, Texas. Obviously, they didn't have as much cachet now that Texas lost, but still a great rivalry game between those teams. But Kansas, Texas Tech, if you live locally, Georgia, Auburn, there's some good games. Michigan, USC, some fun stuff going on. But, man, I'm telling you, that Alabama-Missouri game might be my favorite for next weekend, followed by Indiana-Oregon.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Bink. And I think part of it is just because we live here locally, but even still, it's Indiana's chance to showcase that they're worth something. Last year they didn't do it against Ohio State. Can they do it against Oregon? I mean, I think there's a lot of intrigue there, obviously, for the team that plays in my home state. But I think Missouri and Bama, it feels like it's a massive, massive game. It's the SEC. If Missouri wins, Bink, they are securely inside of the top 10. And dare I say, I mean, if they beat Alabama, they're all of a sudden one of the favorites to make it to the SEC title game. And we know if you make it to the SEC title game, you're all but guaranteed a spot in the college football playoffs. So there's a lot riding on this game next weekend. And I talked about this on the Instagram Live afterwards, Bink. We are getting into the prime time part of the season where every single game matters. It's conference games left and right. It's rivalry games. We get ranked on ranked. Like, even if you go outside of just the power conferences, you go to the group of 5 race to see who's going to be inside of the college football playoff in the American Conference, the Sun Belt with JMU. Like, Bink, you've got a plethora of good college football action for you going up this weekend, next weekend. You just got to look for it, and you'll be able to find it.
Yeah, Missouri's schedule. Once you have Bama, their first road game the following week at Auburn. Then you play at Vandy, and then it's Texas A&M. And then you have Mississippi State. That's very pesky themselves. Then Oklahoma and John Mateer should be back by then. Yeah, it gets tougher and tougher as we go. And Vanderbilt, by the way, that didn't beat Alabama yesterday, there's that Pitt State connection, man. Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator, won a national title at Pittsburgh State. Jerry Kill rolling around there on the sidelines as well. Very Pittsburgh State feel to that team. But Missouri, we'll see them in 3 weeks. So great stuff, Drew. Looking forward to the new podcast on Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Hey, hang on a second. I need to ask you real quick. When Vandy plays with Missouri, are you going to be rooting for Vandy? Because you love yourself some Pitt State Gorillas. It feels like you're going to be rooting for Vandy in this one.
No, I'm not, because they're not coaching Pittsburgh.
Okay.
They're at Vandy.
All right, I just wanted to be sure.
I'll be going for Missouri. That's gonna be a fun game. Missouri and Vanderbilt. That's gonna be, go to Nashville, get on the Cumberland River, enjoy that game. But no, I'll be going for Missouri in that game.
All right, sounds good, Bink. Always a pleasure, man.
See you, Drew. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Drew Nixon talking some college ball with him. But yeah, I mentioned Pittsburgh State connection. Tim Beck's their offensive coordinator. He's getting a lot of run. The funny thing is, Diego Pavia, that lost Alabama yesterday, they were still very competitive. He turned it over twice in the red zone. But when he went to New Mexico State, Pavia, Tim Beck was their offensive coordinator from Pittsburgh State. And he won a national title at Pittsburgh State. And then Jerry Kill, who coached at Pittsburgh State. And they were in New Mexico State. Then they go to Vanderbilt. Jerry Kill goes over there as a consultant. Tim Beck's now that offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh State lure. But, yeah, there was just a feel of Pittsburgh State in that game, especially with Tim Beck. He won a national title there. So, yeah, and then Sam Pittman, of course, fired from Arkansas. That was a Pitt State guy. Willie Fritz, former Pitt State player, lost yesterday with undefeated Houston when he lost his first game of the year to Texas Tech. So it did have that feel to it. But, yeah, Missouri and Vanderbilt in 3 weeks. That's going to be fun. We come back. Let's take a look at the National Football League today next.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Hey, football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown of the game, but his teammate scores instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. With BetMGM's second chance offer, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. Try a first TD score wager with confidence today. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Morning, Zoe. Got donuts.
Jeff Bridges, why are you still living above our garage?
Well, I dig the mattress, and I want to be in a T-Mobile commercial like you. Teach me, Saldana.
Oh, no, I'm not really prepared. I couldn't possibly. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 17 Pro. On them, it's designed to be the most powerful iPhone yet and has the ultimate pro camera system.
Wow, impressive. Let me try. T-Mobile is the best place to get iPhone 17 Pro because they've got the best network.
Nice, Jeffrey.
You heard them. T-Mobile is the best place to get the new iPhone 17 Pro on us with eligible trade-in in any condition.
So, what are we having for lunch?
Dude, my work here is done.
With 24 monthly bill credits on Experience Beyond for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits ended, balance due if you pay off earlier or cancel. Finance agreement iPhone 17 Pro, 256 gigs, $1,099.99 and new line minimum $100 plus a month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data 1H2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Royals fans, thank you for listening all season long on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Caught by Bobby on a dive in the shallow outfield grass.
From Vern's On Deck show through the game and then Vern's post-game show, we appreciate you listening every day to the Boys in Blue.
No throw home. Ball game over.
And we can't wait until next year.
A home run for Salvador Perez. A historic home run.
Spring training can't get here soon enough. This is your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back, 96.5 The Fan. Jay Binkley, Jacob Mustard producing the operation. You know, I was talking about that whole connection with Vanderbilt and Pittsburgh State. Jerry Kill, who's a consultant there now, he was the first coach to win a state title at Webb City back in 1989. They've only rattled off, 16 state titles, holding the lead in the state of Missouri. But Jerry Kill was the one that started that off in Webb City. By the way, Ari Myrov just tweeted out here, Jacob, curious what your thoughts now are. For the Cowboys, left tackle Tyler Guyton expected to be out. Left guard Tyler Smith expected to be out. Right guard Tyler Booker expected to be out. Their center Cooper Beebe expected to be out. That's a huge miss for the Cowboys. They're playing the Jets though. Will it matter? Will it matter at all for the Dallas Cowboys?
I think so. I mean, you have a backup quarterback you have Dak. Sorry, I was thinking the Ravens.
Dak's looked great.
Yeah, Dak has looked great. I mean, but that's your blind side. It's rough for Dak, and I mean, you're dealing with a injury-riddled receiving core. It shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't. But you're talking about the center quarterback exchange. There might be some miscommunication. Honestly, there's probably going to be a couple delay of games just by the protection sliding and the adjustments. I know Dak we see him get up to the line, make some adjustments in the protection and all that. So it's just, I think there's going to be some penalties they're going to have to overcome just due to that. But they should be fine.
Injuries hit the NFL hard. The Niners, the Cowboys, the Ravens, clearly a lot of injuries there. The one team just keeps winning with those injuries. The 49ers, who played on Thursday night when they beat the Rams in overtime. Hey, 4-1, man. Props to Shanahan and what he's doing with basically nothing. Is he your coach of the year at this point? He's mine.
I would say so. I mean, through 5 weeks of the season with what he's had to deal with, I would say so.
Yeah, I mean, you got to finish strong as well. We'll see what happens to him. But that's how the coach of the year usually goes. Either you're decimated by injuries, you're really bad the year before, and then you come back and have a good year. But anyway, there's some interesting games in the NFL. Our circa picks that we do with me and Rob and Dusty and Speck and Cody and Gold. 9-1 the last 2 weeks, so let's hope for another good week with the circa deal this week. But as far as the local TV, now if you have direct ticket or get to watch every game, or if you're watching Red Zone, it doesn't really matter. But the games showed locally here in Kansas City will be Broncos and Eagles at noon. Cowboys-Jets, by the way. I just mentioned the Cowboys. That's another game that's going to be spotlighted on Fox at noon. 3 o'clock, Commanders and Chargers. Go Commanders. Jay Daniels back for this one. Give the Chargers yet another L. And then, of course, tonight, the Patriots and the Bills. Early game, we have the Raiders and the Colts at noon. It doesn't look like Bauer is going to play in this one. Indy is 7.5-point favored in this game. Indy, of course, the first 2 weeks didn't punt the football. A little bit surprised when the Raiders play to this point. They're 1-3 at this point. I thought bringing in Geno Smith and Pete Carroll comes there. I'm not saying the Raiders were ever going to go to the playoffs this year, but I expect them to be better. But I'm looking at this game, and this is all Colts, isn't it? I mean, Tyler Warren's going to go off the tight end for the Colts, which is funny because he was, pick 19th, Jacob? Remember us talking about this during draft coverage, me and Chris, when the Bears took Colston Loveland at 10. It's like, what are you doing, man? Tyler Warren's right there. Why are the Bears making this mistake again? Colston Loveland didn't even start. He's got 3 catches, 55 yards, but not even a starter because of Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Warren was the obvious draft choice, and I think, there was a...
But the Bears were the Bears.
Yeah, there was a pretty big pop when they chose to go with Colston Loveland. And Loveland's, he can develop into what would be a really good receiving prospect, but they're having him sit behind Cole Kmet and, I think he's even getting third-string tight end reps. So it's just, honestly, I don't know why the Bears even took a tight end at that point because Cole Kmet's young enough to still be a part of Caleb Williams if that's what they're expecting him to grow into, their franchise QB. They didn't even really need a tight end. They could have used help elsewhere.
Are we buying the Colts at this point? Because who's that next tier? You always think about that second tier in the AFC, these teams that rise up. And again, as I point out, 23 of the last 25 years, you've had someone go from worst to first in the NFL. But for the last couple of years, it's been the Texans, right? With C.J. Stroud, and people really believe in the Texans. Obviously, that's not the case at this point. The Colts kind of came from nowhere. Daniel Jones / Indiana Jones looks completely different at this point. You buying the Colts? Do we put him on that second tier? Because obviously that top tier is the Chiefs and the Bills. Do we put in that up-and-coming teams? Because I think that second tier is jumbled. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are sitting firmly on that line. Do the Colts deserve to be there? They're kind of looking at third tier, trying to make their way to that second tier.
I think they deserve the second tier. Just if you look at their roster construction outside of Daniel Jones, you got Jonathan Taylor, Quentin Nelson.
Stud.
They got some really good defensive linemen. You got Tyler Warren. Michael Pittman's another good receiving option. They got Josh Downs as much as he hasn't done anything.
And A.D.
recently.
Mitchell if he holds the football.
Yeah. Unfortunate for the A.D. Mitchell drafters. But yeah, I think they're a well-constructed roster, and they remind me of the Vikings of last year. Now, they didn't make any huge splash in the playoffs because they got bounced in the first round, but they're very similar to the Vikings where I think they are going to hold the playoff spot. And unlike the Vikings of last year, they may even win their division since the Vikings had got, 14 wins and lost, or 15 wins and lost the tiebreaker with the Lions and became one of the most winning wild cards teams.
17-14 now. Can the Browns get win number 2? Can they get wins over the Packers and the Vikings today? Less than a minute left in this game. But also today at the noon slate, Giants and Saints. And this is it's bad. And the Saints at this point just keep going for that first pick, man. Just keep stealing. It's one thing, too, Jacob, it's always funny to me is these teams that fire their coaches early. Like when it comes to, I can't stand when teams fire their coaches 11, 12 weeks into the season when they suck, and we're not there yet. But the firing of because if you're bad, you have to start looking at the draft. And you want a bad coach as your head coach to tank the season. Like, you don't want teams to get fired up. I've seen this so many times with teams that'll do this. And typically when like look at UCLA yesterday beating Penn State. They fire their coach. They got some enthusiasm. They got some spark. They got some bump. Like, if you're gearing towards that number 1 pick, you don't want enthusiasm, man. You don't want an interim coach coming in there and, firing everybody up. You want to continue to suck. That's why I never understood this firing.
Yeah.
Let them ride it out, man.
Well, and then perfect example in the NFL was Gruden when he got fired on the Raiders. And I can't remember the name of the intern head coach. He came up and rattled off like 4 wins for the team, took them out of the number 1 pick.
Yeah, they promoted their special teams coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what happens. So if you're going to suck, go ahead and do it because draft picks, that makes the difference between a franchise quarterback or not if you do it right. And this year is getting all Carson Beck at Miami is actually climbing the charts because every other quarterback's coming back to size in the NCAA. NCAA football looked loaded for quarterbacks for this draft, which helps the Chiefs when teams are taking quarterbacks. It just makes more better players available towards the end of the draft. But certainly that's not living up. The Cowboys and the Jets, as we mentioned, Cowboys decimated line, 0-4 Jets. That's a bad football game, but it's going to be on your television sets at noon. So maybe watch Red Zone or watch the Broncos-Eagles game at that point because I think that game is going to be good. Also at noon, Dolphins and Panthers, 1-3 Dolphins, and a horrible Monday night game. Tyreek Hill, obviously, out. That was a bad deal for him. The Panthers, 1-3. This was a team that, keep in mind, going into last offseason, spent the most money in the NFL. I mean, they are desperate to make that team good. They spent the most money. Look at them last year. They showed some improvement towards the end of the year. Then here they are, right back to being a bad football team, sitting at 1-3. Can't beat them. Texans and Ravens, also at noon. Texans 1-3 now. I think they get their second win today. You know, it's a team that's won a playoff game the last 2 years. And a lot of high hopes on the Texans, who the Chiefs do face later on this year, and then the Ravens that are 100% decimated. Do you know that Cooper Rush, the quarterback for the Ravens, do you know his career record is 9-5 as a starter? Cooper freaking Rush is 9-5. Would you ever imagine that?
I would not have. I mean, he led some good offenses, but you know he kind of had the crutch of CeeDee Lamb in Dallas and a good head coach down there.
Titans and Cardinals. This game, I think I picked them last week to cover. Right, 7.5 points when the Titans are playing the Texans. That was just too tempting because bad teams don't deserve 7.5 points. But the Texans hammered the Titans. Now, can the Titans get their first win over a 2-2 Cardinals team? Oh, a field goal. Vikings are going to win. Well, there's still 25 seconds left on the clock, but the Vikings take a 3-point lead right at the very end as Carson Wentz, captain comeback, comes down the field.
Jordan Addison, corner of the end zone, touchdown.
Is that do you have Jordan Addison?
I do. I don't have him starting. I don't know if you heard the reports earlier. He didn't play at all during the first quarter, and they said it was coach reasons, and they didn't disclose any information. I'm sure that's going to annoy a lot of people, especially if they had parlays on him.
3 o'clock. Obviously, the Titans Cards at 3 o'clock game. The Buccaneers at the Seahawks. I think this is extremely interesting because in the NFC, I'm buying the Bucs. Keep in mind, this team's won their division 4 straight times. They go out and get Igbuka at wide receiver. You know, it was a luxury item for them, but man, is it helpful. They keep winning. Baker Mayfield, those 3 straight games where he came back in the fourth quarter. Seattle is a very interesting team to me. If Seattle beats the Bucs, it is a home game in Seattle. I think it's time to start, considering them real serious in the NFC. Not Eagles good. Don't get me wrong. Not Lions good, but just an outlier. The Seattle Seahawks, if they win this game, they are 3.5-point favorites. And as I mentioned, the Bucs, 4 straight division titles. They're gearing towards something good. I think there's actually a really good game in the 3 o'clock slate, to be honest with you. Also at 3:25, the Lions and the Bengals. Detroit's 9.5-point favorites. I know we're not doing our picks till the final segment, Jacob, but did they cover this one? People are expecting the Lions to put 40 to 50 on the Bengals. The Bengals have looked like one of the worst teams of. Is there more of a dichotomy of a team that looks like Jekyll and Mr. Hyde than the way the Bengals looked the first 2 weeks? They were 2-0. And keep in mind, Zach Taylor in his first 6 seasons won 1 game in his first 2. 1-1. This year they start 2-0, but there's not been a worse team in football the last couple of weeks than the Bengals. So much so, Jacob, I brought it up this week. On Twitter, the Bengals put out, let's see your fit. And they put out their stadium map. And they're telling people which ticket section they're in to either wear black or orange, right? They're going to stripe. They're going to stripe the stadium. You should have seen the comments, man. Like, Read the room, Bengals. We're wearing our bags. There's actually a petition for a group to wear bags to the Bengals game this week. Couldn't happen to a nicer fan base. A fan base thought they were right there on the cusp. We should have given Drew some crap about this. But the Bengals are having a stripe out, and it was met with some great, great comments, Jacob, about read the room. You guys suck. We're going to have a great draft pick. But, yeah, the Lions with the appetizer with the Bengals before the Chiefs.
Yeah,
This is one you can overlook.
Yeah, but it's just hard. They're getting 9.5 points or something like that. That's going to be a tough cover.
Yeah, Lou Anarumo was their defensive coordinator, right? He goes off to Indy, and Indy's off to a great start at this point. Commanders and Chargers, also that 3 o'clock window. Hey, man, don't sleep on the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is back. Don't know what kind of difference he makes in this game, but I think he makes a big difference. Also, Chargers without Alt. Slater's gone for the year. Alt's going to be banged up here for a couple of games, but not having your bookends. And then the Sunday night game. The Buffalo Bills, 7.5-point favorites over the New England Patriots. I mean, there's a couple of games Kansas City rooting interest in this game. I think the Eagles and Broncos, that's a rooting interest in that one. You will see the Broncos take an L. The Chargers playing the Commanders, you want to see them take an L. And the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots, you want to see them take an L. Out of those 3 games I mentioned, Commanders, Chargers, Patriots, Bills, Broncos, Eagles, who gets the wins? Does 2 of the 3 win? The Bills win over the Patriots. Can the Patriots sneak up? Do the Eagles beat the Broncos? Do the Chargers lose the Commanders? I think there's a very good possibility 2 teams in the AFC West take L's, or 3 teams if we're throwing the Raiders and Colts in.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting slate, and we got some interesting things going on at the end of this Browns game.
Okay.
They created Gabriel to Isaiah Bond over the middle, got him to midfield for the Browns. And then a Hail Mary was attempted with 7 seconds left on the clock. The pass was thrown. Players ignored the whistles. There was a timeout called on an interception by the Vikings.
21-17 Vikings, yep.
And so now they get a second chance at another Hail Mary.
Second chance at the Hail Mary, and it looks like the Vikings stopped that.
Wow.
He only threw it 20 yards, man.
Well, they were trying to get out of bounds, and he was about a yard away from getting out of bounds, and there would have been 1 second left and only like 30 yards to the end zone or 25 yards to the end zone.
If you're sitting on the 50, man, you got to put it in the end zone.
I mean, they had 7 seconds. They just threw an interception on the Hail Mary. I think they were trying to go for another chunk play, and they almost had it. It would have created another shot to the end zone and a little bit more manageable because I think that Hail Mary came up about 5 yards short.
Dylan Gabriel's shaking hands with Carson Wentz at the end of the game. Gabriel comes up to like his chest. Carson Wentz so much taller than Dylan Gabriel. But now Bengals starters go, or as far as making your first start, they go to 0-17 now since 1999, since Dylan Gabriel lost the game. Come up next, though, we do our pick of the week against the spread. We use the DraftKings odds. And this one, Jacob, a game lead on me going into this pick. We'll do that next.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Good morning, Casey's Country. Darn good coffee's now 49 cents when you buy any breakfast sandwich or burrito. Some are calling it a great deal. I call it sensational. I'm so sorry. Bad joke. Good deal, though. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. See store for details.
This is Creed Humphrey. Kansas City has the best fans in the world and the best bull riding team in the PBR. The Outlaws are looking to win it all this year, but they can't do it without you. I'm the chief of Outlaw Attitude, and I need you to pack the house. So buckle up and make some noise. The Outlaws are coming, and we know KC will be there with us. Come see Kansas City's next dynasty and join me at PBR Team Outlaw Days, October 3rd through 5th.
This is the Run My Own Business dream. This is the colleges paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
NFL Sunday's coming. You've got your crew, your couch, your snacks, your slate, and FanDuel's coming in with something extra. This isn't just another NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your go-to player prop. And now we're making it even better because this week FanDuel's bringing the bonus. That's right. Right now, all customers can get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. However you play your game, FanDuel's got your back with something extra in your account because that's what Sundays should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com/Alex to download the app and get in on the action before kickoff. FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
At Straight Talk, we get it. You say no a lot.
Mom, can I get a tarantula?
No.
Coffee?
No. So we're giving you more reasons to say yes, like a free 5G phone with real unlimited data with select plan activation.
Can I use the free phone?
Yes. See? Doesn't it feel good to say yes to more?
Absolutely. Face tattoo?
Absolutely not. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. In-store activation of Gold Unlimited plan or higher required. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Welcome back. Welcome back to After Hours. Jay Binkley, Jacob Mustard producing the operation. Well, we already had Cleveland doing what Cleveland does. Now 0-17 with the quarterbacks making their first career start since 1999. Dylan Gabriel, the 41st starting quarterback for Cleveland since 2000. Yeah, and Dylan's 5'11", if that. And Carson Wentz at 6'5". That was just an odd-looking handshake. It was like his kid. It was like he was out there with his kid on the field. But Carson Wentz, as he got banged up, man. It looked like the Vikings would have been going to Max Brosmer at quarterback, but luckily they didn't have to. Well, Jacob, we do this each and every week. We make our picks against the spread, and we use DraftKings just to be fair, so we're on the same page with this one. There's some interesting ones out here. Like, there's some interesting lines out here. You, by chance, though, you want the Cowboys and the Jets, despite the amount of injuries, that whole offensive line basically banged up except for right tackle for the Cowboys. The Cowboys 1.5 or plus 1.5 in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I just think no matter what, with that offensive line injury, and Brandon Aubrey, we trust to get us more than 1.5 points on the Jets. When it comes down to it and you're talking close to the spread, I think Brandon Aubrey is the best kicker to rely on if you need 3 points.
And let's face it, the Jets never deserved to be the favorite.
No, I don't think they ever should have been.
It's actually pretty enticing. I actually like that one quite a bit. So you're going Cowboys and you're taking the points.
Yes, sir.
I am going to go the Colts-Raiders game. And 7 points, 7.5 points on some books, but it's the Colts are -7 against the Raiders. I'm going this one. I don't know how you feel about this, Jacob, but the fact is, it doesn't look like Brock Bowers. I don't know if you guys talked on fantasy. It looks like he's not playing. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, he's trending towards out. I'll do a quick check, but yeah, he was questionable all week. I don't think he practiced Thursday, which was an immediate sign that he's probably going to be out. And it's just it's a struggle with Bowers because he's got all the talent in the world, and he's already banged up this year, and it's a tough watch because after his explosive rookie season, it was just like, I mean, we thought he was going to be doing everything for the team.
Who do you consider that next wave of great tight ends? I think Trey McBride in Arizona, Tyler Warren, Brock Bowers. I think that's kind of Tucker Kraft. I've always liked Tucker Kraft. That was a big character concerns guy. When Tucker Kraft was the second tight end selected by the Packers because they go Musgrave before him. But Tucker Kraft looks like he's turned into the deal.
Yeah, I like Tucker Kraft, and it is confirmed Bowers is out for this game. But yeah, Tucker Kraft's good. I enjoy watching Jake Ferguson. He's kind of that middle tier.
I like him too.
He's that kind of middle tier tight end where he's not the next wave, but he's not the current wave either. And then, like you said, Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, Tyler Warren. It's a good name. I like Cole Kmet too. After watching him for a couple games,
That's why you don't draft another tight end.
True. I mean, he was. I think last year he might have been their best receiving target on the Bears, and they were like, "Yeah, let's just replace him."
Of course, the big thing last week was really a non-issue with the Chiefs' next opponent, the Jaguars, and Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator for the Niners. You see the little altercation towards the end of that game where Saleh or Cohen was yelling at Saleh, "What? Keep my name out of your mouth." Which he didn't mention your name. He was mentioning the team. Here's the thing. Coach fights are great, by the way. They're great. But I think Cohen was a little too sensitive there. Because Saleh said legal sign stealing. And he made an emphasis. He was giving them a compliment of how good they are at looking at opponents. But nowadays, as Andy Reid said, it's more the headset, the communication with the headset going back and forth. And you have the green dots. And you don't need – it's back that way at college football as well because the whole sign stealing deal – at Michigan, where most of your dirty work is done over microphones and no one can steal that anyway. But Patrick Mahomes was asked about signs and will the Jags pick him up this week?
I guess maybe, and I have no idea, honestly. So it's something that I don't necessarily understand, but we'll make sure to switch our signals, I guess.
They'll switch their signals. That's not going to matter. That whole thing was blown up, but here was Andy Reid when he was asked about the issue between the Jags and the Niners a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's been going on that goes on. So if you're going to put a sign out there, I just gave you one, you didn't see it. But but if you're going to put it out there, guys are going to look at it and try to sneak it from you. So the headsets have kind of taken away a little bit of that, but that's what it is. It's all part of it. And got to move on.
It's all part of it. Andy's got jokes, man. See, he said, I just gave you a sign, and you didn't see it. But this has been going on in sports forever. I mean, it wasn't as elaborate as what the Houston Astros used to do, right? With the trash can banging and someone in the outfield video. Patriots did it all the time. Sorry, Jacob. Do you remember when they actually tried to get the Bengals a couple of years ago? It was back when Belichick was still there, and the Bengals were bad at this point, and they had sent the camera crew to Cincinnati. Again, everybody does this. Not singling out any team because everybody looks at everybody's signals and you try to fix that, but with the headsets, that changes everything. Patrick Mahomes also was asked about Travis Hunter, of course, number 2 pick in the draft, did everything at Colorado, offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, Heisman Trophy winner, did it all. He had been splitting snaps. He's been about 55, 60% on offense to 55, 60% of the defensive snaps. 2 weeks ago against the 49ers, he was only 9 snaps, 13% on defense and 55% on offense, trying to spark that offense. But it looks like this week it could be the opposite, or they're just saying it could be the opposite because they're worried about Patrick Mahomes. But definitely on offense, they needed more help. But I think this kid's good. I think he's going to get going at some point. Hopefully it's not this week against the Kansas City Chiefs. But here was Mahomes about Travis Hunter.
So he's special when he gets the football in his hand and being able to make guys break tackles and make guys miss. And then seeing him play defense now, I mean, he's done a great job obviously with his defense, done a great job in this scheme of playing man and zone and being around the football as well. And so a special football player and someone that we'll have to account for when he's out there on the field.
Andy Reid was also asked about the offense. Are they back now? Is there any worries about the offense? Or, you kind of put that game, the last game to rest against the Ravens, new week. new beginning, but this offense does look a lot better. Last week was great. They were doing things they hadn't done all year. They were using 6 offensive linemen. They were trying to mix it up. They trusted the actual linemen in the game, using 6 instead of 12 and 13 personnel with 2 and 3 tight ends. But here was Andy Reid, if he's buying it. The offense is turning that corner.
Listen, there were some good things. There's some things we've got to work on. Can we be better? Absolutely. On the offensive side, Matt has done a good job of finding things with Joe Blameyer. These guys are finding things that work for the guys that are playing, and kind of the offensive line did their thing. They got another huge challenge this week. I mean, this defensive line is a good one. So it's every week is its own deal. But this past week there were some good things that took place. Just got to keep building on that.
Yeah, the Jaguars come in, good defensive line, but Trayvon Walker, their former first overall pick back in 2022, has 2 sacks in the season. He's questionable coming in this game, but of course, all eyes are going to be on Juwan Taylor making his return to Jacksonville.
I'm sure it'll be emotional for him that way. And then he knows the other part of that. He knows he's got to focus in on not being too quick off the ball, and but at the same time being quick. It's you got to be on time, spot on. And so he's worked hard at that.
The one thing about Taylor is there's Juwan Taylor on the road and Juwan Taylor at home. Because at home, it's a lot more quiet. You go on the road, the noise, but he wants to protect Mahomes. I get that. If he does get off on the snap at the right foot, it's much different for Juwan Taylor. But, yeah, he tries to judge that snap. Clearly, he wants to protect Mahomes, but it's a little more noisy when you're on the road. So a big test with Juwan Taylor going back to Jacksonville. I'm looking forward to this game. I think the Chiefs win this game comfortably. I have the Chiefs by 7 in this game. You got the Chiefs covering this 3.5?
Yes.
Okay. So I think we're all on the same page. I think Logan was on the same page as well. Great job by you, Jacob Mustard. Thanks to Drew Nixon talking college football with me. Thanks for Logan sitting in here that first segment. Good night, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Big game, Chiefs-Jags.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine. You could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt. But you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. But listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. That's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. Cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property